Yo, what's good? What's going on, everyone? Hope you're having a great day. It's Neff, and today we're going to take a look at the state of Havoc going into 10.1. But before we get into the video, I do want to shout out my Discord. If you want to talk or ask me any questions, that's probably the best place to do it. We're also over 1,000 members now, with most of them being Havoc mains. My Discord is also where you can download my UI. My UI is available for Twitch Prime and paid subs. It's also available for patrons now. If you become a patron on my Patreon for only $3 USD, you can stack my UI. My UI is updated for all specs in the game, Vault of Incarnates in all the dungeons, and it will also be updated for 10.07 on release and 10.1 on release. So yeah, if you're interested in those things, links can be found in the description. But anyways, let's get into the video now. So first off, let's just take a look at the changes Havoc will be receiving so far. They're mostly quality of life changes, if you can even call most of them changes. So the first and only real change was to Blind Fury. It now increases the duration and damage of I-Beam by 10% at rank 1 and 20% at rank 2. It used to be only the duration by 25% at rank 1 and 50% at rank 2. So outright, this is a nerf to I-Beam, but with the shorter duration of I-Beam, you'll end up getting more GCDs throughout a fight. So overall, it'll probably balance itself out DPS wise. This is also, a quality of life change though, because let's be honest, sitting in melee casting a 2-second I-Beam has always felt like shit. So overall, I think this is a pretty good change, but we'll have to see it in practice to know if it's an actual damage loss. Next, we got two changes to a pretty terrible feeling talent to play, in my opinion, which is Fodder to the Flame. They reduced the range the demons spawn away from you by 20%, and they also made it so the demon soul that spawns from the demon always lands in front of it towards you whenever possible, which again is a a really good quality of life change. But there are so many bugs still with this talent, and just the concept of it feels super bad to play with. First off, it's turbo RNG. It feels terrible when you don't get a proc going into meta, and it feels even worse when you get a proc right when meta is about to end. It also has an interaction with Isolated Prey, where if the demon is spawned, Isolated Prey is basically just a dead talent until you kill the demon in single target, which is where you play that talent. There's also a bug to where if you're playing with another demon hunter with the Fodder to the Flame talent, and you both get a proc around the same time, which happens pretty often because the talent does have an ICD and a proc rate, which it does happen pretty often when both demon hunters get a proc at the same time. You would think it doesn't, but with the proc rate, with the way percentages work in this game, it happens pretty often. And when it does happen, sometimes your demon or both demons will target one demon hunter, and that demon hunter could be on the other side of a platform, and your demon will be nowhere fucking near you. And your demon also becomes targetable for the other demon hunter while they have an active demon as well, and they can kill your demon. So sometimes you won't even be able to find your demon soul. And secondly, you could be wanting to save it for a little bit instead of killing it. Maybe you're about to take some damage and you want a good heal, or your I-Beam's about to come off cooldown and you want to save it until your I-Beam comes off cooldown, right? So having it targetable by any demon hunter in the raid, as long as they have a proc of Fodder to the Flame as well, is just a really, really, really dumb. I don't know what they could do if they could just make, Fodder to the Flame, the talent, like a client side thing and not a server side thing. I don't know if that could fix it or if that would be a possibility. But really, I think the only thing they can do with this talent, honestly, is make it an active ability off the GCD with a 45 seconds, to 1 minute cooldown, to make it feel good to play whatsoever. Because right now it just doesn't feel good. Like in AoE, if you're running Fodder to the Flame in Mythic Plus, and there's 10 targets around you, and you're trying to kill your demon, but you don't want to target your demon because you don't want to soul rend it and use your Furious Throws and everything like that on it, because it's a damage loss to target it, right? Because it instantly dies and you lose all that damage, and the damage doesn't even count. It's useless damage. So if you're trying to kill it during a big pull, you can't even see the nameplate. Not even being able to target it is a problem. I just think the concept, the idea of the talent is cool. And yeah, it fits the Demon Hunter theme, I guess. But just the practice of it and the concept is just very fucking bad to play with. And I think most people that play Demon Hunter or main Demon Hunter would agree with me. Anyways, next they made a change to our talent tree. It's not much of a change, but it is certainly a change nonetheless. So you can see here on the screen, improved Fell Rush and the Netherwalk and Desperate Instincts choice node has swapped positions in the talent tree. Furious Throws and Fell Eruption have also changed positions in the talent tree. So this change really doesn't help us out a lot, but now if you wanted to, I guess it's a bit easier to get Netherwalk with the Shattered Destiny build, and it's a bit easier to take Fell Eruption with the Any Means Necessary build. Which I guess is okay, because with the Shattered Destiny build, you mainly play it in Raid, where Netherwalk is usually more useful, and you normally play Any Means Necessary in Mythic Plus, where Fell Eruption is a bit more useful. But to get these, you would probably drop either Looks Can Kill, and with the way our crit scales, this is going to feel even worse going deeper into the expansion to lose. And with the Shattered Destiny build, you could also drop Isolated Prey for Netherwalk if you absolutely need an immunity. Both feel really bad, but I'm assuming this is what they were going for with these tree changes, giving us the opportunity to take Netherwalk in Raid with a single target build, and giving us the opportunity to take Fell Eruption in Mythic Plus with the AoE build. But this trend of losing damage for utility is absolutely dog shit. You still cannot take Netherwalk with Any Means Necessary build, and you cannot take Fell Eruption while playing the Shattered Destiny build without losing a significant amount of damage. So yes, this change might look good, but in reality, it really does nothing. I'll just point out Balanced Druid. At first on their spec tree, to get Solar Beam, it was like a 15% DPS loss in single target or AoE or something. And they made it, a pretty quick change. I think it was within the first couple weeks of the tier coming out, where they made a change to where Boomy, could take Solar Beam without losing like a crazy amount of damage. So hopefully we see an actual change to our talent tree that'll make a real impact on being able to get our utility without fucking ourselves. That's I think that's what we all want. But yeah, so those are the only changes we've received so far for Havoc. It seems like every spec was getting so much tuning this tier, and Havoc kind of just went untouched after they nerfed literally everything about the spec at the beginning of the tier. We really fell behind on single target boss damage. We still do pretty well in AoE, but there are specs that just do it better than us. But we're definitely not as down bad as we were in Shadowlands. But I think we're going into a downward spiral again. I just hope we don't get left behind like we did last expansion. But if you take a look at the rankings in Mythic Plus, there are so many Havocs above the season title cutoff, which looks good, but I think that has something to do with how many people play the spec, because it is like the top 3 most played spec in the game, just because of the play style of it. But obviously, Havoc is still good. Obviously it's a good spec to play, don't get me wrong. But in Raid, I was talking about our single target boss damage. We're in the middle of the pack in Raid, but if you sort by boss damage, you go through every boss, we are pretty much the bottom of the barrel when it comes to single target boss damage, even in our full single target build, so hopefully we see some, a little bit of buffs to our single target damage. That would be really nice. But honestly, what I'm really hoping for is changes to momentum. It's currently in its current state, it's a half shell. It's not even a shell, it's a half shell of its former glory. It doesn't feel rewarding to play. It's super risky. And if this raid and seasonal affix have any indication for going forward, it's not looking too good for us, man. I'm not very happy. There's so many stack and spread mechanics in the raid. Bosses like Sinarth, Primal Council, Taros, Razagath, Broodkeeper. Literally every boss in the raid has some type of mechanic where if you fell rush at a certain time, there's a high chance you will definitely kill somebody. Which, that's the momentum playstyle. That's what Demon Hunter has been, a high risk, high reward gameplay. But risking that for an 8% damage buff and using your movement for damage at the current state just feels absolutely fucking terrible. Momentum in its current state and, like Unbound Chaos, I would not mind it, not even a single bit, if they just deleted both of them from the game. Momentum, it's like the most hated and most loved talent in the game, but I can't think of a single reason anyone would defend Momentum in its current state besides the history of Momentum and, how good it actually used to be and how rewarding it felt to play. But it seems like using movement for damage will always be a core to the Havoc rotation. So if it stays this way, hopefully we just see some buffs to momentum that will bring it back to that super rewarding playstyle. The ultimate question, will Havoc be good going into 10.1? My prediction is yes, it will be good. Will it feel good to play? Probably not. Right now it's really reliant on Know Your Enemy and critting. And, obviously we're going to scale more with our crit. But crit does DR, just like every other secondary stat. So eventually, it's only going to be so good. Obviously once we hit that crit cap or whatever you want to call it, we could start putting more haste in, more mastery and everything like that, and you know, we'll scale a bit more. But liking crit on a spec like Havoc, where you know it's super RNG in your opener if you're going to do really good damage or not. If your death sweep doesn't crit in your opener, if you don't get a Fodder to the flame proc in your opener, there's still too much RNG in the spec, and momentum in its current state feels like shit to play. You know, just playing high risk for no reward, basically. You know, it in my opinion, Havoc in its current state does not feel good to play. So hopefully we will see some changes going into 10.1. And if we get half as many changes as all the other specs in the game, you know, we'll probably be looking pretty good. But yeah, that's it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. If there are any changes to Havoc going forward, now obviously I will make a video about them, give my thoughts on them and opinion, and you know, do some numbers, some sims, and we'll see what the changes look like, and hopefully they look pretty good. Hopefully they hit the mark, and you know, we definitely are due for some changes, and you know, so I'm assuming for them to come out pretty soon. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Enjoy the rest of your day, night, weekend, week, month, year, century, decade, whatever. Yeah, till next time, guys. Peace.